Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello there and welcome to an extra episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. I'm your host Mike and I'm delighted to say that today joining me is Matt Gray. Hi Matt, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks Mike. Yourself?
Yep, very well, thank you. Nice and busy few weeks for you.
Yeah, certainly has been.
Before we start, I'm just going to make a quick mention to everyone, as I always do, the ways to support the show. You can find out more on the website or drop me a message, suttonpodcast@gmail.com or at Sutton Podcast on any of the socials. Now, it was my intention to try and do a mid-season review, but that kind of fell right in the middle of the transfer window, and I absolutely bottled it and wouldn't do it. So I was like, no. So instead, it's a 2/3 season review, and that's now a thing. We're doing it, so we're now making it a thing. Let's start with the transfer window. A bit of a busy one this time round, and to a few different fans. Being judged on the high standards. This season has been this one's business has been possibly a little bit up from the summer. What was your thought process behind some of the players that we've identified that we wanted to strengthen, and when you decide it's time that you want to replace someone and move them on? No names, please, if possible.
No, it was a busy transfer window. Comings and goings at both ends, and I felt we needed to be done. I felt the squad needed to be freshened up. Going into the window, I was really happy with where we were going in terms of the turnaround in results, getting the injured players closer to fitness and a couple coming back. The likes of obviously Buteman and Smith and Goodliff not being far away coming into the start of January, who are three massive players for us that I thought... to the timing of the window with our progression of results and where we were going, I felt we would have given the squad and the club and everyone a real boost. And to get David Ajiboye over the line as the first one certainly did that. But a little bit disappointed with where he's at fitness-wise coming to us. He hasn't played many games, so we just had to get him up to speed. But I just felt as well, maybe a couple hadn't worked out in that first half of the season. For nobody's fault, really, but I just felt that certain areas needed to be freshened up, and especially at the top end of the pitch. And Kwame couldn't get into the team and wanted to crack on and play games. So we felt that was the best move for him to go and progress his career. Charlie Kendall didn't really work out. But, to bring the likes of Matt Dennis in, Leanne Goal, Ish Casamu from Farnborough. He's not quite fit yet. It's a slight injury, which we knew about when we signed him, but he'll certainly come in and add competition as well. So they were good signings, and obviously we had the goalkeeper as well. Goalkeeper in, goalkeeper out, just freeing Aaron Pierre up to go and play some games as well. Brought really in to go and get the shirt, and with Ben Goodliff's injury, but unfortunately he got a really bad injury in the Tranmere game. So there's some that just didn't work out for whatever reasons. And I felt that where we were going with results and team spirit and the mood in and around the whole club, I felt to have a little bit of an active window would certainly be a big boost for the second half of the season. And so far, so good. And I feel it's had that impact we all wanted.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little plug. I've just spoken to an ex-player of ours called Danny Bolt, which is going to be released fairly soon. And just in that conversation, it was like the realisation that you sometimes forget that footballers are people. And you think, yeah, they're doing it for this person, therefore it must work out that they're doing it here. And it just doesn't always work out like that, does it? They're grown men coming into a work environment, which can be quite daunting because it's a fairly healthy dressing room with a bit of banter flying around.
Yeah, and when they're coming into a squad that all knows how we play, and they're trying to catch up to speed very quickly on how we do things on and off the ball, and how we play exactly, and also everyone has their personal circumstances of what they where they're at that stage of their career and what they're trying to do. And as you say, sometimes it doesn't overly work out. But that's football. That's what we're in it, and it's not the first time it's happened. I'm sure it won't be the last. But all good lads, all good people, and never know. You might bump along into them further down the road, so they leave all on good terms. But I think it was right for him to move on and to freshen the squad up.
So again, not giving away any secrets. These are hard questions to ask because obviously some things you don't want to give away. But what's the thought process kind of behind identifying targets? How do you decide between player A and player B for what you want?
Nice, good question. It's many factors really, and it all probably depends on everyone's an individual of that position that we require at the time, of the circumstances of who we're looking for them to either replace, how we're looking for them to either strengthen the team. I do feel that location is a big factor as well. And don't get me wrong, we have got players who have relocated and moved away from where they are, either up north or whatever, and settled more in London. But to have family, friends around them and still be settled at home, and maybe that was a big strong case for signing Leanne Goal as well, who is, as we know, a Sutton boy, and to get back home from playing up in Bradford was a massive pull for him, a local club, and the player that we obviously admire and think really highly of as well. So there's that. There's obviously financial implications as well. There's juggling the budget. There's working it all out. So I'm a bookkeeper as well as a manager, and making sure that we can that every penny is spent wisely, and what we let go out, we can bring in and try and make it as cost neutral as you like as possible, which we're near on. I think if we can get maybe a couple of loans out in the next couple of weeks, we certainly will be the right side of things. So there's lots of factors, to be honest, and it is all unique on that situation. But as I've said to you before, with Terry Bullivan, Director of Football, but obviously a main role of that being in the head of recruitment as well. John Davis, our analyst, is very heavily on the recruitment side of things, as well as preparing us for the opposition. So it's something that we constantly work on, is our recruitment and having potentials for all aspects. And even though we're mid-February now, we're even looking at summer recruitments already, and we're drawing up lists already for the end of the season, and having that plan in place, because window to window you can't stand still. So one closes and we're already planning for the next one, and drawing up those short lists to tick the right boxes, or as many boxes as possible, to sign that right player for that right position at the time.
Okay, that's lovely phrasing, because the next one I've written down is what's kind of an acceptable turnover of players to find the right one. So because obviously there's a limited pool of players, we're a small club, we haven't got the money, as everyone knows. You can't just go, Sutton United calling, come over to us. You've got to pick the right person, and it's not always going to work out. So have you got a kind of a thing in mind of, I'm willing to go through 20 players, 30 players to get the right one, or that's a bit high? It's a bit high.
But I think I've talked about this before as well, is the most important thing is why are they coming to Sutton? What are their reasons? What's their hunger? What's their drive? What's their ambition? I don't want anyone on the way down thinking, oh, this will do me for another year or two before I pack it in. I want people coming to play for us with a hunger and a desire for whatever their reason is. So it's not saying I won't sign an aging player, if you like. No, because I met Rob Milson when I first got the job, and he was the other side of 30, but his hunger, his enthusiasm, his drive was as strong as ever, and I could tell that when I met him at the ground. So it's getting a feel for the person, it's getting a feel for the reasons and what their drive is and what motivates them to come and play for us and want to be successful for us, because I'm certainly not standing still, and I've got more hunger and drive than ever. So I want like-minded people, and I want people to come and play for me with that burning desire to get results and be successful like we have done over the last few years.
Okay, Don't write it off though. Someone saying this will do, because I'm pretty sure that's what Easty said when he walked through the door. It was in September time. Oh, I need a club, that'll do.
Yeah, and he might have done, but obviously certainly the Craig Eastman I know,
No.
that's certainly changed. And if anyone I either inherited as a manager or signed and they went that way, then we'd be shaking hands and moving on. I want everyone with that hunger and drive to go and succeed.
Okay. So I've been saying quite a lot, because obviously goals this season have been a little bit hard to come by, and people saying, well, we need to change this person and that person, we need this player and that player, and I'm like, well, hang on a minute, if we find a player that bangs in 30 goals a season for us, am I right in saying we're not going to be holding on to that player for very long, because someone else is going to be coming along and going, yes, thank you very much, come up to the championship or wherever? Is that always a fear?
No, but it's not fear, because it means we've done something right and been successful on another level. We've gone and recruited a player who we might sell on and move further up the pyramid, and that's another success story for Sutton United, and also helps us in the longer run when you're trying to sign players, and it gives you that added little bit of tool to say, look what we've done with so and so. We signed them from there and played with us for X amount of seasons and scored goals or did this or did that, and now they're moving up. We've already been on the right side of that a few times. So it's not a worry, it's not a fear. That's a form of success. But 30 goals a season, yeah, everyone wants them, don't they? So, but I'm not massive, and I'll say this to my strikers as well: is I'm really not big on their goal return. I don't put pressure on the strikers. I haven't got the exact figures in front of me. When we won the National League, I don't know what our top scorer was, but it certainly wasn't 15. It probably wasn't even 12. There was Santo, Omar's, Donovan Wilson's, the main three strikers of that season. I doubt any of them got over 12 league goals. As I say, I might be wrong, but no, I don't think they did. So we've gone and won the National League with one of the, and again, I should know, shouldn't I? It's poor for me. This is how many goals we scored in, were we the top scorers in the division? Certainly in the top three, without a doubt. And we didn't have a goal scorer more than 12. Because as long as my strikers are doing the job that I require for them to do for the team, then I know the goals will come from all over. We have lacked a little bit of quality at times this year. David coming back, look, scored 2 already.
Yeah, exactly.
He scored 2 already. And even Ben Goodliff coming back, who's such a threat from set pieces, where Joe Kizzy's played a lot of the games at centre half. The aerial threat that we are in the opposition box. Sometimes you can be sending Louis John, Goody, obviously Kizzy, Omar. Who are they picking up in what order? And it'll certainly free up, and there'll be a mismatch somewhere. And Joe's got a lot of goals last year, hasn't scored as many this year, but probably because of that, and us not being as threatening physically, aerially in the opposition box. And Joe's certainly been one of our major threats for them to work out. But suddenly we're bringing Goodliff's back in, Ali Smith's back in, adding different aerial dimensions in the opposition box, and now teams are struggling to pick up, which one do they want to pick up, in which order. So there's many ways we score goals over the years, and I certainly don't put it down to the strikers. No, as a whole, I think if our strikers are doing the right things for the team, generally we as a team will score goals, and hopefully that with the strikers we've signed second half of the season will make a big difference and get us back scoring goals, which of recent weeks, touch wood, has not been past Stevenage, which was a very close and scrappy game.
Yeah, I mean, last season I think Ali was top with 10, but I'm pretty sure one of them was an own goal, so it doesn't really count. Not an own goal for us. It clipped someone on the way. So yeah, exactly. Last season it was spread out everywhere. But a similar thing. So player development. Obviously, we're bringing in players who are being let go, or we've tempted away for whatever reason to Sutton. They're not all going to be polished, finished articles. And there's only a finite amount of time and resources. So what kind of approach do you and the guys take about deciding what to sort of prioritise in terms of development? So I hate digging things out or saying things, but when Jack first came into the team, his kicking wasn't the strongest. But now it's like, whoa, he's clearly been working hard on that. So at what point do you go, right, I want you to concentrate on A, B, C? How do you kind of prioritize these?
Yeah, just literally break it down into individual compartments and positions and what we require and what I believe gets success and what the boxes have to be ticked from all 11 players. And we were blessed with Dean Bazanis' distribution previous 2 seasons. But I feel Jack is a top goalkeeper, and you just look at some of his saves he's made has been world class, So Jack's kicking at the start of the season, I agree. But like you say, we've certainly highlighted it with Jack, and the little goalkeeping coach has been working really hard with it. And you can reap the rewards of the emphasis of what we want, the quality, the area, the flight of the ball, and everything. And Jack's really taken that on board, and he's been different class for us. So, yeah, it's really breaking down and doing a lot of work and crossing and finishing and patterns and certain crosses and certain areas where we want our strikers and opposite winger and midfield runners getting into the box. And again, that's really even in the first minute of Hartlepool, Ali Smith's late run, it's sort of things we work on. We're working in the box, getting down the side and cutting back. And I'm thinking, there's a training ground goal here, and fortunately bubbles off the post. But no, it's things. Yeah, like you say, it's myself, Jace, Mickey, the rest of the staff really analysing where we can improve the individuals or the units, which would in turn obviously improve our team.
So we spoke last time. It was the beginning of the season, and we were sweet summer children, full of hope, and then injuries, just horrendous injuries. Had just before one of the games, an off the record quick chat with Bruce, and obviously I spoke to Terry, and they both said, with all their years of experience, they've both said they've never seen injuries like it, where it's long term for similar positions. Does that help you when you're struggling, when you're like, okay, this is a really weird situation, it's unprecedented almost? Does it make you feel any better, or is it still as frustrating as it clearly must be? Yeah,
I think the frustrating part is, I've been in football long enough that it is part and parcel, and you've got to accept it. It is the worst I've known and the worst I've been involved in for 16, 17 years as either assistant or a manager. But it is, and it does happen. And I felt last year we just got caught up a little bit around the time in between the semi-final and the final with the Papa John's. Just a few little niggly, nothing major, muscle injuries. And I was really conscious that I wanted to stamp that out for next year. And I put that down to training ground, because we didn't have one. We now do. And I put that down to also trying to improve or add as well to the staff. I was certainly happy with all my staff last year, but I just wanted to improve things. Someone to come in and help. Craig Dundas with the strength conditioning. Craig does all the warm-ups and still joins in training. And, he's still a valuable part of what we're doing, and every now and again gets some minutes on the pitch. But to bring Sean Miles in, who's been unbelievable since he's come in, a massive part of the staff, and has really uplifted everything. And then bringing in Ali Vogelsang in as well, who was here before when I first came to the club, to help with Bobby and Kat, and I've got Ben Ginners, my assistant physio as well, and to really help with the medical team, because we've got a big squad, because we have to in the Football League now. So it can't just be Bobby and Kat back in the National League days. We need pairs of hands, and we need expertise, and we need knowledge, and we need as much of that as we can get on that medical and strength conditioning. And Ali and Sean have been huge parts of turning it around, and what I wanted to bring to us. So bringing Ali, Sean, and the new training ground, I really felt that that's really going to help our injury situation this season, off the back of last year. And touch wood, it has in terms of muscle injuries and all what we picked up. We fit, strong, our training methods, everything is taking us on to another level. But you can't excuse, and nobody can. You can have the best training ground in the world, you can have the best medical, broken legs, cruciate injuries, hernias, all what we can know, and what unfortunately our players have suffered are literally unpreventable, and it's nothing we can do about them. But unfortunately, they all came at the same time.
Yeah.
All came at the same time. All big injuries to big players, and all came at the same time. So it's not the frustrating thing is I've got to wait till January for one to get most of them fit, and two to be able to freshen it up in the window as well. So we were going through a tough time, but I'd like to think I'm pretty level. And even when we're doing well and everything's great, I don't really get carried away because I know it can soon turn. And just stay focused on the job in hand. But on the flip side of it, it's no different to we're struggling, we're scrapping around here, keep trying to put points on the road, points on the board. Sorry, and because I do know it will turn, and it will, it will turn around the corner very quickly and give us those players back, freshen us up. Can we dig in till January, lads? Can we keep grinding and putting results on the board, which we did do? So to come out of, this is my fourth season as a manager, and all have been so different. But to be sitting where we are now, after what we've had done in the first half of the season, is as a whole, as a football club, as all the staff and all the players, as one, is an incredible achievement to be sitting where we are and right in the mix with 16 games to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a few little bits there. There were some questions raised about what the hell's going on in training. Are we tackling with 4 transit vans? And then you came out in an interview and you sort of reeled off all the injuries. I can't remember who it was against, but you reeled off all the injuries and where they'd occurred. And it was like, oh yeah, that was on the pitch. That was on the pitch. And I think it was just Josh had taken a knock on the training ground, and Josh was the only one. And you'd reeled them on, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. And I did actually bump into Catherine one morning. It was not long after John's, and I was like, "Oh, how's it going?" She's like, "It's a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare." I said, "Oh, do you need the ticket machine yet? Is it getting to that stage where you can't see people?" She said, "I've had to turn people away. I've had to tell people, no, come back tomorrow. I've got no room. Go away." So it was amazing. You've kind of mentioned the recovery times, but is it all down to the players' attitude, or the staff, or a mix of both? Or what? I mean, some of them. Seeing John walking around last weekend, I think it was, it's insane. And Ben's for the first few games when he came back, and he was turning and twisting his knees, I'm cringing away from the pitch. But how they recovered so well? I think it was only Matt that had a slight delay, and I think you mentioned it. Matt had a setback. And I think that was the first time you've actually mentioned a setback in their recovery. Yeah.
You look at probably the two worst ones, or the longest term ones we've had, is obviously John Barden and Ben Goodliff. Two massive players for us. John's been outstanding since I've been at the club, and such a horrific injury. But even me going to see him in the Stevenage hospital an hour after the game, he's sitting in the hospital bed going, "I'll be back." His mindset an hour after it's happened is, I'm focused on giving myself the best opportunity of trying to return to football after what is a horrific injury. And if anyone's going to be able to do it, and touch what he can, and just really pray that he can, that it's going to be John, and such a strong mentality and such a professional, and he will live his life from that moment to give himself the best opportunity to get back out onto a football pitch. And I'm looking forward to really seeing him progress over the coming weeks and months. By the way, it's still going to be a hell of a long road from now. So, we really wish John well of one of the worst injuries, unfortunately, I've seen. So Ben Goodliff, our Player of the Year, swept up all the awards last year, 30 minutes into the season, cruciate injury. No one can help that. It's just what happens. And again, I've been there myself with injuries and seeing different people react in different ways. And I said to Goody when we found out the news a few days later, once we got scan results back, I said, "Listen, mate," I said, "you can go and sit on the beach for 2 weeks if you want. Just clear your head, go and get some sun, relax. You can't do anything. There's not a lot you can do. Just go and have a bit of a chill and come back in, do what you need. You can do what you need to do." Next morning, he was in the gym at 7 o'clock at the training ground. Couldn't do a lot, but what he could do, he was doing.
Yeah.
And then it got better and better. And I like to get in early in the training grounds, as does all the staff. And we're normally in the training ground for 7:30. He's there at 7 o'clock in the gym, and he still is now. He's kept that going. And again, the mentality, the desire to get back is only credit to him. because his attitude and has been first class. So when you say, is it him or the medical staff, then you go and back it up with the medical staff, with all the guys that I've just mentioned there, to give him the day-to-day support of really. He's certainly going to have some tough days mentally and physically, and he's going to have some good days as well, but just keep him positive and keep him driving on to get to that end goal of coming back and playing again, and credit to all of those medical staff that I've mentioned not long ago.
No, he's a brilliant, insane, because some of the injuries is like, ooh, are we going to see them again? And then just see him. I happened to be there when John drove in, had a quick chat with him then, and then I was doing something else, so I had a quick chat with him then. Then young Bruce wanted to have a chat with him, so I had a chat with him, and it ended up about 5 times, and he was answering the same questions, like, you just need to get this laminated to hand out to everyone to say how you're doing and so on. But also you mentioned how well we're doing, or what chance we've given ourselves at this stage of the season. I looked it up. It's actually yesterday, last year, that we passed the 50-point mark. And with the first part of the season that we've had, can you actually believe that we're that close to the magic 50 points at this stage? And also, how important is it to you that everyone, yourself, your staff, the chairman, the fans, all buy into that 50-point mantra? I know a lot of people laugh at us, but we all just buy into that whole 50-point.
Yeah, when did you say it was yesterday?
Yesterday, I think it was, yeah.
Do you know how many games that was?
I think we're about 3. I can't remember. That was on the. I have it on a spreadsheet, but it's the one at work.
I'll try it. Listen, we got it there last year very quickly, didn't we? Because we were doing so well. We had a little bit of a dip between the semi-final and the final because of those injuries, and that's what I wanted to eradicate this year, and drops a fair few points in that little period. But I feel we're in a lot fitter, stronger state than we are this time last year. We might be behind, and we are behind on the points tally that we were last year, but as you say, it's not going to be by much. And then with that dip of form we had last year, with where we are this year, we just got to keep putting results on the board here, because I don't think we're going to be far away. And we've learned a hell of a lot in our season and a half in the Football League, and to be where we are as a group, 41 points now, and we always say, as you say, we've all bought into the 50 points because it's not guaranteed. I know clubs have gone down with 51 before, but more often than not, the large percentage of the times, if you get 50, you're in the division. And even this year, I think 45, 46, and you're in the division. So I have for a few weeks now not been looking behind or looking at the table or looking at tallies. I'm just literally, and I'm still not doing it as in behind. I'm still not really looking up much, to be honest. I don't care about the games. I don't really care how many points we are off the playoffs right now. We're just looking to go and beat Swindon tomorrow and then back it up with another result against Doncaster, and just keep seeing where it takes us. Let's get to 10 games to go, see how far away we are, and have a real good push. And one thing I do know, and hopefully we haven't and don't sustain any more injuries, is if we can stay injury-free and be in the mix and touching distance with 10 games to go, the way how fit we are and how strong we are and how good we're looking will certainly be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I know Gab Sutton on his prediction at the start of the season, he had us quite sort of low down. I think with not relegation, but with quite low down, 20 or something like that. And then when he reviewed it mid-season, before we started picking up points, I think he put us up to 15, 16. I was like, hang on a minute, what on earth has made you move us up places? And he said, the injuries you've had and the way you've come through them, with all those players coming back, you're going to start flying up the table. And at that point, I started looking at the points away from relegation and then adding them on and going, well, actually, if we have to worry about these points down here, if we add them on, we're not that far behind up there either. So I think we would be in the automatics if we'd added on the points as well. So we're definitely mid-table. But lots of teams have a late run. We did the opposite of last season. We kind of were stuttering a little bit because of the injuries. This season, we stuttered at the start, and we're going to
hopefully finish strong. It's true, because I hear people and I get the second season syndrome. I get what people mean by that. But it does annoy me because I think, well, Hartlepool have known us for 4 years, and for half an hour on Saturday, they couldn't handle us. So as a 4-season syndrome, and we're completely dominated. So I just want to, drive on. I want to finish as high as we possibly can this season, and what will be. But whatever happens this season, wherever we do finish, I do know we're going to be in a really good place come start next season.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Kay has said quite frequently when I've had him on is that with the injuries we've had, if we were to get up into top 10, this season should be considered more of a success than last season because of what we've had to overcome. So there is obviously lots of different ways of looking at it, and me and Andy are very, very positive pro all the time. Always look at the bright side of everything. But there was no getting away from it. There was quite a few games that we were conceding some late goals. And I know you said you try and keep level-headed, but there was at least one interview you just looked utterly shell-shocked and genuinely upset, not even angry, just like, what the hell is going on? I think I even messaged you checking that, are you okay? So how are you kind of as trying to keep as level-headed as possible, but how are you kind of coping with, oh my God, it's happened again? Because it's not really funny, they're not players that would normally do that. They keep their focus on it. Why and how were teams managing to attack us in those last few minutes and get away with it?
Yeah, I really wish I had the answer. I mean, it hasn't happened recently, and I hope it doesn't.
No.
And I just believe sometimes, you might just go through spells of having your rubber to green or not. And you maybe look at the National League season. Torquay couldn't stop scoring last-minute winners. They just kept scoring last-minute winners. And we were like, God, they've done it again. And then suddenly we have our little spell with about 10 games to go. Suddenly starts clicking for us. We weren't doing anything different. A few late goals and Yeovil at home, Bromley at home. Some big goals at big moments that saw us over the line and got big points for us. And then, of course, no one wants to concede late goals. Of course you don't. But again, you then really sit back and try and analyse it. Are they the same players making mistakes? No. Are they the same type of goals? No. Are they coming from a certain area of the pitch? No. Is it, it's just dropped there, goal. And is it a mentality thing? Are we weak mentally? No. Is it fitness levels? No. Although maybe that could be the most one the one you could possibly go down, because I was maybe calling on squad players who maybe hadn't played as many minutes because of the injuries you had at the time and whatever. But yeah, I just think it was a little run we went through, and so far we haven't had one for a hell of a long time, and hopefully we get a few swing our way now, like we did at Gillingham.
Exactly. I was just about to say, we're going to get all the late ones now. It'll even itself up. And they always say things even themselves out over a season. So back on the Prozac again. Yeah. So again, without giving an awful lot away, what's kind of the process for planning and preparations for a game? Sort of how far in advance do you start looking, for example, at Swindon? Do we focus on stopping their strengths or exploiting their weaknesses, or sort of a mix of the two?
Yeah, good question. It's if I was our week tends to be, if I was going to go through our week, or it would be without a Tuesday game. Let's say it's a Monday in, and we all the players that have, everyone goes out to train, and all the players that have played on the Saturday started and played will do like a half session. So they'll come out and just get their legs going, nothing too taxing, but they're out in the fresh air, they're getting the feel of the ball and just getting their legs going again. And then they'll be back inside and getting stretching sessions and bikes and massage, etc. Just to really, like a second day recovery, they call it nowadays. The ones who didn't play will extend and just do an extended session, if you like. Now, the Tuesdays and the Wednesdays we train are really focused on us, focused on how we play with big fitness in mind. They're 2 big fitness days, but they're also, as well as us working on our fitness, it is game-related situations to how we are on the ball. So we're certainly looking at Saturday or just how we play generally. Maybe slight tweaks against different systems. And Tuesday tends to be a bigger day with bigger areas and a lot more sprinting in. And the lads really work hard on Tuesdays. So then for the big areas that we train in on a Tuesday, on the Wednesday we come in and work really short, sharp, and get, so real tight areas. And again, hard work, but more in intense areas. And then Thursday is a rest day for the players. And then that's when me, Jace, Mickey, that's our video day. So that's when we analyse the opposition. And we all do that on our own. That's the way I like to do it. We sit there together. We all do that on our own. And then we come in on the Friday morning and we'll have a meeting at 8 o'clock on the opposition. So we will system, style, and we're very detailed on what we're looking for while the game's obviously in play, shape for, shape against, attacking half, defensive half, etc. But also really big on the ball is actually in play probably on average about 2/3 of the game. So a third of the game, the ball is dead and it's waiting to come into play, wherever that may be. Throw in, free kick, corner, goal kick, whatever. And I like and want us to be as organised from for and against on every time, wherever that ball is dead. And I want to know what we're doing, what they want to do. And if they want to do something, I want to try and stop it. And I will also then look at our strengths of how we might be able to exploit a certain area of a free kick, a throw in, whatever. So there is a hell of a lot of detail that goes into it that me and Jason, Mickey will go through on the Friday morning. With obviously the additional Andy Little obviously is a huge part of that as well. Terry and John sits in. So we go through it all as a large group of staff really. And then we will do what we call like a walkthrough where we'll, before training, go outside. And I'm not a massive one for classroom based video sessions because, and I don't want to be very general here with footballers, but I'll speak for myself then. I didn't want to be at school and I didn't want to sit in the classroom and I wanted to go outside and play football all the time.
Kick a ball, yeah.
All the time. So I used to switch off if I was maybe in a classroom environment, and I feel footballers can do the same. So if I'm now sitting down indoors and put a plasma up in front of them, I can see them get glazed over. So I like to go and talk to them about the opposition outside in the fresh air, stand on a piece of grass with a round ball rolling around. So we'll go and do all our bits on that on the opposition and walk through the key points that we have to. So that the main work is done on the Thursday with the videos, and then the information is given to the players on the Friday without the ball before training. And then once we get into training, we'll then work at full speed with the ball against the mannequins set up in their formation of certain patterns and drills that we're looking to get out of any situation I've just said there. And then on the Saturday, again, we'll talk a little bit about us at the start when I see them at 1:30. And I'll talk about and confirm the opposition once I get the team sheet at 1:45. So I'll do 2 small talks on a match day, gearing up into the game. So then when we go on to the Tuesday, it was straight away yesterday into our Sunday was videos days on Swindon, as well as always look at our last game back as well. So we watched the full game back of anything we felt we could have done better, and then obviously watch all we watch of the opposition leading into Tuesday's game as well, and then the players were prepared this morning, ready for tomorrow night's game.
So there's a couple on there as well. This is why we're quite cagey with information about missing players, because obviously if we were to say that player X is out for however long, that means that you could then go, well, we know he's not playing, and it just helps you focus the training or the talking a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to say the impromptu training session that was put on a few weeks ago on the unfit pitch was illuminating, but I didn't have a clue what was going on. It was just the players running in from one position, then they're out, and then they're in, and they're off the pitch. And I was like, I said, I'd like sales an eye opener, but I didn't actually have a clue what was going on with all the different players coming on, running off. It seems to be like 2 teams of 12, but only 8 was on the pitch at the same time. But you were watching everything. You were watching the players as the balls went off. The players were running to go and get it, which I thought was really odd because I've had Sunday league teams and no one wants to go off and get the balls and stuff. But yeah, I mean, is that the heavy session or would that be just a normal everyday session? Because it seemed quite heavy to me. The players obviously from thinking, yeah, it's frozen off. We got a day off.
Yeah, it was certainly a heavy one because they were having a Sunday off and then we were ready to go on a Monday. So they did work hard that day. But yeah, that would have been an example of a bigger area of counter-attacking, of overloads and trying to create good opportunities and when it matters, taking those chances, which was good on the day. And glad you half enjoyed it, even though you didn't know what was going on, Mike.
Enjoyed it, yes. But I was like, whoa. Silly things like when it finished, they got up, they got the nets, and they started carrying the nets away. And I'm like, hang on, these are professional footballers. But there's no sort of prima donnas there at all. They just have to pack everything away as they're using it. I mean, that isn't everywhere, I'll be honest.
No, it's not. But I certainly wouldn't have it any other way. What am I going to do it, Mike? You know, so it's a rule to be set up. Everyone, I would just leave it for the kit man. I would just bring all the bibs in, the cones in, and the balls and everything like that. No chance. We're all in it together. We're all in as a team. So we'll bring the goals in, the bibs, fold the right way. And I'm like that on a match day as well in the change room. The kit for players folded the right way when I take it off, socks the right way, shorts the right way. I'm really big on those sort of things, respect, morals, and why should someone else do it for you when you can do it yourself? And no, we work hard and everyone buys into that, and that's really important for what we are.
Against Crawley, I think it is very soon. You'll come up to a moment where you've taken charge of more League Two games than you have of National League games. I think it's 80 National League games because the season cut short, and then it will be 81 against Crawley. And then very soon after, it's come up to your 4-year anniversary. I've been kind of happily telling everyone that you feel this job and we feel this job is just started. The project's just started and there's more to come, but probably should give you a say on it. You are one of the longest serving EFL managers, which is insane. I spoke to a Swindon guy and he said in 8 years, they've not had a manager get to more than 100 games, which is only 2 seasons. But am I right? Do you still feel like this is the start of the project?
Definitely. It's been brilliant for you. I didn't know that stat about Crawley. I didn't know how many games I've managed in the league. That's interesting to know. It's unbelievable 4 years coming up this season. You know, let's hopefully we continue this success that we're having. But I'm as driven and as hungry as ever to get more success for everyone, for the whole club. And yeah, since we've got promoted into the Football League, wow, you just look at what we're doing and the first 18 months. And it's only really since before Christmas where I actually starting to feel that I am more just the manager as the first League2 club. So it's been a period. It's now settling down. As I said, I couldn't be happier with my staff. The training around for everything's in place now. And I'm so excited for what the future holds for us. And as I said, we are Sutton United and we're totally respectful of the league that we're in. But I'm not standing still, and nor is the football club. And the board are so supportive and are so backing. And with the board, us, the supporters, the sponsors, everyone is so united. And I'm so hungry for more success. And I'm fortunate enough to have a promotional winner of the league in my second season. And I want to get this club. And I'm not saying it's happening this year. And I'm not saying it's happening next year. It could happen this year. Or it could happen next year. But who knows? My goal and my drive and what I wake up every day trying to do is establish this football club, then go and try and make us League One football club. Because if you look at this, and we could name Forest Greens and Cheltenham's and Lincoln Cities, and you can go on, they're probably, and again, I wish I knew exactly 10, 12, I'm probably guessing, that have been a National League club in League One, current League One clubs that have been a National League club in the last 15 years. So if they can all go and do it, why can't we? And that is the drive and the ambition, because me, the whole staff, the players, the club, we're not standing still. We're not standing still.
Excellent. I know before the match, at the warm-up sessions, you're kind of you're out saying hello to various people in the crowd, especially the little kids. That's a really good hook. to get those kids important there. And I see it as you at the end of the match where you're coming around, giving everyone a wave and a clap, you're kind of taking names, checking who's still there. But how important is the fan engagement to you? I mean, I know we do the meet the manager and the quiz thing every now and then, which I think Gab thinks is every week or something. But how important is the fan engagement to you?
Absolutely massive, because without them we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. The success that we've had, everyone in every aspect of the football club has played their part, and the supporters, especially at home, have been superb, and then away from home in their numbers as well, and the voice, and going over to them at Hartlepool the weekend was special again, and they're really behind us. So I feel it's vitally important, and there's so many, like you say, aspects of the support. You come out of the tunnel to do your interviews after the game. There'll be quite a lot of kids hanging around for pictures, for autographs, and it's great to mingle with them, and the youth sections and the academy kids that come and watch us. And then we always go into the bar and try, if we possibly can, to catch strikers at key. It all depends on what time the opposition manager leave our office, whether we can get in there or not. But as soon as they do leave, we can't get in there quick enough to try and catch the end of strikers at key and mingle in the main bar. And then we go and mingle with the vice presidents as well, myself and Jason, the rest of the staff. And that's just on a match day. As you say, you're going round before the game, the warm-ups, after the game, you're trying to say hello to as many as you possibly can, because they're so supportive, everyone is, and we're all in it together. And it's really important that we have that community spirit, and that we're all in it together.
You forgot about the brilliant podcast, but okay, we'll let that go. We'll let that slide.
I was finishing that, Mike.
On that note, I will wrap it up for you now. Let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for your time. It is really, really appreciated. Thanks everyone for listening, and don't forget to follow, comment, like and share on any of the socials at Sutton Podcast. But for now, Matt, thank you very much, and I hope the rest of the season pans out as we're expecting.
No, brilliant. Thanks for what you're doing as well, Mike. You've been absolutely brilliant anytime. And let's kick on all together, last 16 games, and see where it takes us.
United! 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 United!